made a decision that instead of force, even if there is an opposition, even if there is people against you, you go. Even when the guns get tough, you go until the end. You implement your decisions. Courage is also about taking a risk, audacity, boldness. This is a very important virtue of leadership. No capacity to take a risk, no leadership at all. Self-control is the capacity to use your emotions, the power, the energy of your emotions that are very necessary for human beings. You don't destroy them, those emotions, you just use them. The power of emotions and passions, and you put that into the implementation of your mission in life. That's a very important thing for leaders. There must be passion and energy, and that comes from emotions. And we need to know how to use this through virtue, mind, virtue of self-control. And then the virtue of justice, because justice is about giving each one of us due to him. And when you just, you enter the heart of people. You practice empathy, truthfulness, you practice friendship, sincerity, simplicity, mercy. You just love human beings. And this is very important leadership. If you don't love people, you lead and you collapse. But these are the four fundamental virtues that we know, and many people practice those four fundamental virtues without being leaders. We call these people good people. They are people who create confidence around them. We trust them. We're ready to follow them. We say these people have the conditions for leadership, but we don't want to say that they are leaders. Something else is missing. So to be a good man, to be a good woman, which means to practice the four basic virtues, does not still mean that you are practicing leadership. But you're good, which is a good thing, which is the foundation of leadership. If you do good, you will then become a leader. Leadership is a moral activity. And if you don't practice the four fundamental virtues, then you could just collapse in your life. You don't create the confidence, the trust that people need in order to follow you, in order to understand you, and in order to copy your character. So where there is no virtue, there is no leadership, there is manipulation. If I don't have the four basic virtues and I'm the chief of a company and I have to lead you, what am I going to do? I need to put my books on psychology in order to understand how to interact with people that I cannot love you, who cannot love me. It's impossible to love me when you if I don't have one of those four virtues. How do you manipulate them? How do you make people love you when they can't love you? How do you make people work for you when they can't work for you? There are techniques for that. We call this manipulation. It's not my job, it's not what I'm doing. But many people are interested in this science because they don't want to follow the natural way of leadership, which is the way of virtue. But then the problem is the following point. When you practice the four fundamental virtues, you understand that this is not enough for leadership. Leadership is a very specific science. It's not just about being a good person. Even if being a good person is the foundation of leadership. You need to practice two very specific virtues. Discover them by working quite a lot online over 30 years. And we'll take a story and we'll try to identify those virtues together. And after we try to see how we can develop those virtues. Because I'm writing on leadership for people who fit this model of leadership alike. So I need to meet a lot of people, different people, to talk about. So about 5 years ago, I went to France to meet François Michelin. I don't know if you know about the company Michelin. The company Michelin is a company that produces tires. It's the number one in the world in the tire industry. This is the guy I met, François Michelin. He was 55 years the chief of Michelin company. I came to him and he received me during 3 hours in central France where they have the headquarters of Michelin. And I told him, look, I'm writing on leadership versus leadership. I need to know about versus leadership in your organization. And then Francois told me, I will tell you the story of my grandfather. And you will understand what leadership is about for us. My grandfather, this guy on the right, Edward Michelin, built that company before the First World War. And he was a businessman, he was a philosopher, and he was also a mathematician and engineer. And he began to produce tires. And one day, a man called Marius Mignol, the guy you see here on the left, came to the office and said, I would like to work for you. The chief of staff told him, Mr. Mignol, that's good, but do you have a degree? And Mignol answered, no, I have no degree. I left school when I was 15. But they've been working in the printing industry, the printing department of another company here around. So the chief of staff hired him and sent him to the printing department of Michelin company because this guy knew how to print material. When Edward Michelin heard about this, he took the phone and he called immediately the chief of staff and he told him, you're crazy. You're just crazy. You send to the printing department, a place where there is not much creativity to be shown. A man, just on the foundation of the fact that he has no degree. It's ridiculous, you don't know the man. Remember, all you need to break the stone in order to discover the diamond that is hidden inside. Break the guy. Break the guy. Send him to the commercial department. When they sent him to the commercial department, and Marius Mignol was buying and selling material for the industry on the international market, and because it was going to mathematics, he invented a kind of a ruler in order to in order to get to know the currencies, to convert the currencies on the international market. And one day, Edward Michelin saw the table of this man, this ruler. He took it in his hands. He looked at it, and he said, this guy is a genius. He has nothing to do here. This guy is a genius. Maybe not nothing about mathematics. What he did by inventing that little ruler is genius. So Edward Michelin discovered genius in that man and sent him to the research department. At that time, the research department was composed of a few individuals, and then we call them people who were very high-level engineers who just finished French School of Polytechnic, Political Institute, very, very talented people, mathematicians with first degree, physicists. And then came that man who loved mathematics to the research department. So they looked at him, what is that guy doing here? The problem at that time was very simple. Cars were going faster and faster because the tires were heating so much that at high speed, and it was dangerous to drive cars. And nobody knew how to stop the process of heating of tires at high speed. And they were working very hard on that, working very hard. And then came Mr. Mignol, who was on mathematics of physics. And after a few years, he's the one who discovered the radial tire. The famous radial tire that changed all the history of tires all over the world, changed the whole industry. He discovered that through contemplation, experimentation, love for the tire, passion for the tire, he discovered that by putting inside the tire radial wires, then you stop the process of heating of those tires. Here a drawing that I don't see much, but this is the invention of the guy. And this changed the whole industry of tires all over the world. The company became quite quickly the number one in the tire industry in the world. Everybody copied those tires. These are short tires. They work very well. They're stronger than normal tires and they are short. This is a great service to humanity. And then Edward Michelin told me, Alex, this is what leadership is about. It's the meeting of two people. It's my grandfather, Edward, who was much more than a boss. He was a father. He was a teacher for a man called Marius Mignon. Marius Mignon didn't know who he was. His mother, his father never told him, you're a genius. They never discovered that boy any kind of genius. There were no leaders for this boy. His parents were no leaders for him. He didn't try to discover his talent, the thing he's good at. He just lived, survived. And that guy met Edward Michelin, who was the one who in fact was the father for him, or the teacher for him, the man who was looking for talents, the man who was looking to help people discover their talents in life, multiply their talents, put them at the service of the organization, the country, and the whole world. Edward Michelin was the father of that man, he was the leader, he was the coach of that man, Marius Mignon. Marius Mignon all his life was kneeling down in front of Edward Michelin. It's not Edward Michelin who was kneeling down in front of Marius Mignon, telling him, thank you for this great invention who gave us so much money. It was the opposite. It was Marius Mignon all his life kneeling down in front of his boss because he understood this man is my father, is my coach. I am a nobody. Because of him, I became what I am. I find meaning in my life. I discovered my talent. I multiplied it. I put this as a source of all humanity because of one man who was not just the boss, he was the leader. He dedicated, he loved, he was interested in me, he was interested in what I can do. He was simple, he was skeptical about human nature, he was very realistic and optimistic. In this very nice, I think it's the best example of leadership I've seen in business. I've never found such a beautiful example. Because here you have exactly what leadership is about. Much more than a businessman, Edward Michelin is a teacher and a father. He has the mentality of a teacher and a father or a mother, and this is in fact the mentality of a leader. People that have no this mentality and are in business are just managers. Leadership is this. It's about achieving greatness by bringing out greatness to the others. There are many definitions of leadership. My definition is very simple. It has two dimensions. Achieving personal greatness by bringing out greatness in the others. If you look for greatness for yourself, just for that, there is no leadership. If you look for greatness by helping the others becoming great, you are in fact achieving leadership. Two dimensions of leadership: greatness and service. You want greatness first of all. You feel the call to greatness for you, for your employees, for your people, for your children, for your students. Design and transform them for the best. To help them discover their talents, their capacities for action, for transformation, for leadership, creativity. And you're trying to help them do this. And by doing this, you serve them. And leadership is in fact total activity. It's about greatness and service. But it's a very specific service. It's not about cleaning your shoes. Leadership is not about reassuring people. Leadership is about helping people become what they are. And this is much more difficult than cleaning their shoes. So remember one thing, service means leadership when it's magnanimous service. And what is that magnanimity? When you think about greatness and service, you see there are two virtues behind that. Virtues are more habits, which means these are things you need to practice. We've spoken about the four fundamental virtues, which are not the more important virtues. They are the more basic. We call them cardinal, but people don't understand what cardinal really means. Cardinal just means that cardinal in Latin is each, which means that if one of those is lagging, everything collapses. That's it. But it doesn't mean that they are the more important human virtues. And the more important human virtues, in fact, are those two virtues that are specific to leadership. It's magnanimity and humility. Behind greatness and service, you have two virtues, magnanimity and humility. No greatness where there is no magnanimity. No service where there is no humility. I will explain this a little bit more. What is magnanimity? Magnanimity is a very deep human virtue. Unfortunately, we didn't speak about in the history of Europe enough about this virtue. For Aristotle, for Plato, it was a very important thing. And we came to let's say, people forgot those virtues. They focused on the four fundamental virtues, and they didn't pay attention to specifically the virtue of magnanimity. So, virtuous leadership is about rediscovering the meaning of magnanimity. What is magnanimity about? Magnanimity is the attention of the heart, the will, and the mind towards great things. You have small people and you have magnanimous people. And magnanimity is, I would say, the capacity to dream, first of all. A magnanimous mind is a mind that is dreaming. First of all, the capacity to dream is the beginning of everything. The capacity to dream, the capacity to set to yourself high goals in life, the capacity to set to the others high goals in life, the desire to know who you are and what your talent is about, the effort to investigate yourself in order to discover what is the thing I do well. What is the thing I have to do all my life in order to contribute to the common good of humanity? It has to do with a sense of vocation and a sense of mission. A mission is not the same thing as a vocation. And vocation is God's plan from eternity for each individual. It's who God wants you to be. So what it would be, mission is a very concrete thing you're called to do. So mission is more difficult to, I would say, it's more difficult to discover a mission in life because the mission needs, first of all, awareness of your own talents and then awareness of what's happening around. When you see what's happening around in your organization, in your family, in your country, in the world, when you see the certain problem, at the same time you're aware of your own talents, then you understand what your mission could be. So there must be two things for a mission. There must be awareness of your own talent, and there must be awareness of what's happening around. And when there is this awareness, then the sense of mission comes, and you see quite clearly what your mission could be. It's not enough to be aware of your talent to see your mission. You need to understand what's happening around, what's the problem in society, things you could contribute to. It has a lot to do with talents, magnanimity. Magnanimity is the virtue of hope. When you have magnanimity, we say that magnanimity generates hope. Because you feel, you see that you can do certain things. You see your influence on the world, and then you feel also responsible for what's happening around. People who are small feel that they have no influence on the world, so they will, when they see things they don't like in society, they don't feel responsible for that. They say there must be an enemy somewhere. Because they don't see that they are responsible for what's happening. People that are magnanimous, because they see their capacity of action and positive influence, they think if things go bad, it's because I am not doing what I am supposed to. A magnanimous mind, because he knows he can do certain things, because he's magnanimous. He understands that he's responsible, he sees it. Small people never see their responsibility. They see the responsibility of other people. So magnanimity creates, we say, generates hope, human hope, which is which is a very strong energy that tells you you can do it. You can do those things. You must feel your dignity. You must, as Aristotle put it, a magnanimous man is a man who judges himself worthy of great things. There are two things in Aristotle: worthiness and great things. Sense of dignity, sense of being worthy of great things because you are a spiritual being, not an animal. And at the same time, great things. And these people, this guy, Edward Mission, is a magnanimous mind. He's all the time thinking about what people can do. I need to help people discover their talents in order to help them find the meaning of their work, their lives, and help them become magnanimous themselves and real leaders. Magnanimity is also the capacity to speak about your own talents. Here we enter a very delicate problem I have noticed in many people. The problem is modesty. Many people today have modesty without really magnanimity. That's true. But modesty is a virtue, but it's much less important than magnanimity. There is sort of importance of say virtue. Remember that. I will explain what's the problem. The problem is, if you want to get to know your talent, you have to speak about it. If you never speak about your talent, you never ask people around, hey, what am I good at? What have you done? You say it's good at that. Do you think I'm good at that? Do you think this is what I have to do? Do you think this is what I can do in order to become very good at that? Feedback from your friends, from your parents. This requires the capacity of thinking in terms of your own talents and thinking in terms of how do you discover it, how do you multiply this. And many people say, oh, don't speak about talents, it's not a Christian language. Speak about your defects, that's Christian. But no, that's not Christian at all. Humility is the virtue of living in the truth. It's not the virtue of speaking about your sins. Humility is the virtue of living in the truth. And the truth is that we have defects and talents. And if we speak all the time about defects, we focus on our defects, if we fight all the time against our defects and don't put much more energy developing our talents and capacities, there is no humility. Because there is no truth. There is just one thing: small-mindedness. Pusillanimity. Small-mindedness is the opposite of magnanimity. Many people Because none of the matters don't understand the meaning of humility. Never separate humility from magnanimity. It's not to get everything wrong. You won't get any humility and you won't get any magnanimity in your life. Magnanimous mind think like this. I have talents. I have to get to know my talents because these are gifts and I need to use this. This is my responsibility. So I have to focus on that and I have to spend time investigating this. And I have to try different things, different ways in order to get to know myself well. I just cannot do what Dad wants me to do. It doesn't work. I have to try different things in order to get to know myself well. And do the things that I have to do, but that He also wants me to do. You discover your talent, you speak wrongly about your talent, you're not afraid of that because it's your responsibility. But at the same time, you understand this talent that I have is a gift, it's not mine. It's when you practice humility at the same time. Pride when you say, I'm a very talented person, I have a lot of talents, and this comes from me. And it's me, I produce that. I'm sure today what kind of guy I am. This we call pride. But when you say, I have talents, and I know my talents well, and I try at least to get to know them, there is no pride here, there is humility. Because you see at the same time, these talents are not mine. They come from God, He given to me in order for me to do certain things, so I feel my responsibility. There is a very nice American writer called Flannery O'Connor. Between two wars, she gave a beautiful conference, a lot of people around, mainly Catholic people. And at the end of the conference, someone stood up and asked her, Flannery, at the end of the day, why do you write? And Flannery smiled and she answered, those historical words I write because I write well. And people didn't understand how it's possible that such a woman tells us those things. I write because I write well. There's no way was a lack of honesty. There's no way it was right. Because there was no. But in fact, she was magnanimous and she was living in love. I know my talents. I better know that I write well. Because this means that I have to write better every day and I have to serve humanity through my writings. So if you ask me why do I write, I tell you because I write well. I do the things I do well because I have to do those things because this is my contribution to humanity. Do you remember the nice story I saw all this great book you saw all the chariots of fire, Harry Little, do you remember? He was a missionary, a Protestant missionary, and he was a runner, he was running very quickly. And his wife wanted him to go to China to spread the gospel. And he said, I have to go to China with you to spread the gospel. What do you want? First, I have to write. God made me fast. These were the words he was repeating all the time. God made me fast. I just cannot go to China to spread the gospel. I have first to run. I'm going to China after running. And that's what he did. And in fact, he died in Manchuria in the Japanese concentration camp after the Second World War in 1945. Eric Little. I want to run, I need to run because I run very quickly. This is my talent. When the parents, 1928, you know, the whole story, I will not get into details. Well, when the parents got the gold medal of the Olympics, God made me fast. This man, like Flannery O'Connor, were not afraid to speak about their talents. Remember one thing, when I did, humility and magnanimity goes hand in hand, never separate. You don't do everything wrong. Everything wrong. Be capable of saying, I have talents. I'm going to work with those talents. I'm going to apply them. I need to ask people, what are my talents? I want to know my talents. I want self-awareness. But at the end of the day, at the same time, I know that this comes from God. It's not mine. And then you have the equilibrium between magnetic and humility that helps you be very humble and very magnetic at the same time. Many people have the problem. How do you put those two virtues together? In leadership, we found a way to put those virtues together because these are the foundation issues. And then the question is, in the end of the day, how do you develop magnanimity? Because all of us, we know how to develop courage. We have to have discipline in our life. We have to take some risks if we don't like it. We have to step forward when it's hard. We know how to practice self-control. You see 3 bottles of vodka, don't touch them. It's not easy, but you know how to do that. Don't touch the bottles. But magnanimity, how do you develop magnanimity? That's really what we begin. How do you become great? We understand how to strengthen it. But we don't understand how we enlarge the heart. Because magnanimity is about enlarging the heart. It's vision of yourself, vision of the world. It is something that is not just a problem of a minute. It's a result of building of a virtue. Small people, they have a small world inside. That's why they are small. Small-mindedness is about a little mind that is not flying. It's a lot of certain virtue of magnanimity. It's a moral problem to be small. It's not a social problem. It's a moral problem. Small-mindedness. How do you enlarge this heart for it to become big? First, you need to spend a lot of time with magnanimous people. You need to spend a lot of time with magnanimous people because you don't see it if you don't spend time with them. The way they think, the way they dream, the way they achieve their dreams, the way they set themselves high goals, sense of mission and vocation in life, the desire for talents, creativity, movement, hope. These guys are purveyors of hope. They give you hope. They make you feel and sense and understand that you are called to much more than this. So we need to spend a lot of time with these people. We have to identify them, spend a lot of time with them. And these people, we can meet them in